What problems result when we blindly follow our cultural history? Hello everyone, I'm Thomas and welcome to my channel. I do mainly educational videos and some books and articles and courses. Please excuse some of the background noise. It's storming pretty hard here. Lightning and thunder and rain, so try to keep it upbeat here. Okay, so I specialize in doing these tree of life. That's this thing here. It's got 10 different circles, numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's also an abyss right here, which is an implied sphere, and a 0 above the tree. So a total of 12 different categories, and those categories are generally thought of as being faculties of consciousness. So we have 12 different faculties of consciousness here on the tree of life. I've expanded this to another dimension by putting a miniature tree onto each one of the spheres here. So we have 12 and 12 and 12 and 12 for a total of 144 different fractal faculties, which I refer to mainly as the stages of life. But these stages are not chronological stages, they're dramatic stages. So 144 different dramas that we go through as we go through our lives. And they're all kind of categorized within the 12. So this one here, 10th sphere, has to do with our animal consciousness, fight or flight, also our emotional state, which also kind of carries over into the 9th sphere, where we have our domestic consciousness, what we're getting growing up in the house, how we are highly receptive, and then we tune in and we memorize and imitate the actions of our caregivers. And the 8th sphere is somewhat similar, but in the public realm, in the real world, we look at all the paradigms and all of the institutions and how they operate, the teachers and the doctors and the expert opinion, the scientists, and we trust what they tell us. Trust the science. You know, we trust what they tell us and rationalize it. So this is our logical faculty and our belief systems. 7 is for people kind of disgruntled with 8. They don't really believe what's going on here, and so they come over here and they try to come up with alternatives. So inventors and creators, artists who kind of come up with a better, what they think is a better alternative for 8. And this is also a wedge to get us kind of going up the tree, as it is for inspiration. So we get inspired by somebody up here, and we get inspired, and that we are motivated to take that 1% inspiration and add in the 99% perspiration that's required to move us up the spiritual path toward the path of, what in Einstein's quote, it was genius. So at the 6th sphere, we have our free will faculty, our ability to pay attention and make decisions, particularly our ability to stop paying attention to what's going on down here and to turn ourselves around and focus on what's going on right now in the spiritual world instead of in the past or the future. And then we particularly focus up the tree. Also, that you're doing something 6th sphere when the mere idea of doing it scares you. If it scares the crap out of you, then it's probably a 6th sphere thing. And at the 6th sphere, the test of success is not whether you succeed in doing it, but just if you stand in the face of fear and you just do it. Even if it doesn't go well, at the 6th sphere, you're like, oh, well, maybe it didn't go that well. One thing here at the 6th, which is very common, is public speaking. People are always afraid of public speaking. but if they're forced to do it and they get up there and they stand in the face of fear and they do it, even if this speech doesn't go well, at the end they're like, well, I'm still glad I did it, because it's proof that the fear is not a paralyzer. Just because you're afraid of it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You still can do it, and that's empowering at the sixth sphere. Then fifth sphere and the fourth sphere work together about the law. So the fifth sphere is the enforcement of the law, in particular law karma. And this is all the natural law, whereas the cops and the institutional laws are down here at the eighth sphere. But so the fifth sphere is the enforcement of the law, karma, as you sow, so shall you reap. And then the fourth sphere is the natural law, where it's articulated like a cosmology, and also the universal love and universal language. So this is really our universals. You can find also mandalas here, four-sided things. Then the third sphere, the abyss, has to do with psychic powers, our ability to recognize and act upon omens. And then third sphere, omnipotence, all-powerful. Second sphere, omniscience, all-knowing. And the first sphere, omnipresence, all present, all at once. This is the divine triangle. These are our divine aspects. This is omnipotence, all powerful, generally tapped in through synchronization of sounds. The second sphere, tapped into through silence in the mind, and then being able to kind of see the solution to problems. So this is really solutions to problems, or wisdom. And then the first sphere has to do with the all, everywhere, all at once. And this is kind of like the first ether, what's inside of us, inside of everything. And that's our connecting link with each other and the all. And then the zero sphere is above the tree, and it has to do with everything that's not in the universe. So this is nothing, and the mystery. Okay, so now today we're going to look at this question: what problems result when we blindly follow our cultural history? This is this is stage number 18. So this is really the fifth fractal of the ninth sphere. It's number 18. It's called Residual Karma. And earlier, about a week ago or so, we looked at stage number 66, which is the fifth fractal of the fifth sphere, which is what I guess John Lennon called the instant karma. This is where you get your feedback from your actions immediately, and you can use karma as a teacher because it's giving you feedback. But here at the ninth sphere, this is for when you trigger your karma, but you don't know it. And so you're not tuning into the feedback. So you're getting the feedback, but you don't have the lens to actually tune it in. And so it kind of goes over your head, and it kind of starts hitting you over the head over and over again, kind of until you wake up. Your karma speaks softly at first, but then gradually it's louder and louder and louder, and eventually, it's telling you, you gotta stop doing this. And a lot of times this happens is residual because it's picked up inside the home. You get these habits when you're a little kid, and you have when you're at the ninth sphere, you're blind. You're not saying, is this right or wrong? You're just saying, I'm following my caregiver, and so I'm assuming that what they're doing is right, and so I'm imitating them, and I memorize that, and it turns out, you find out later that maybe that wasn't so good, So like, say if your parents eat at McDonald's for every meal, then you pick that up and you have no idea or no inclination to think that that's wrong at all. But then gradually the karma starts to pick up and you start having all kinds of health problems or whatever. Then that's really like your residual karma. Okay, so number 18. Stage 18 is about the delayed payback that comes back to haunt us for the waste and violence that we unknowingly committed. I knew deep down that I was doing something wrong, but I didn't listen to that inner informer. Sickness and disease speak so softly at first, but the alarm begins to ring louder and louder. I'm under double jeopardy because after I didn't heed single jeopardy. We were blind. We pick things up from our own upbringing without questioning, but we are punished by our own sins. The sins that we've overlooked because we remained blind. Sins that stayed unconscious. Putrid proteins, rancid red roasts, festering, fouled up, fetid fats, residual payback that later became chronic when I did nothing about it. I didn't listen. Mucus, pus, and feces, bile, ropes, and stones, soot, worms, and smoke, all inside of me. A healthy behavior, a healthy lifestyle was not handed down to us, but instead a destructive behavior that we learned blindly, that we now must unlearn, or we will be afflicted with residual karma, or we will continue to be afflicted with residual karma. Ignorance is no excuse. Knowing the rules of nature, as straightforward as they are, is a formidable task. To live right is a lot harder than we think it is. And then acting on these rules is a lot harder than just knowing about them too. Even if we know our actions are against the law, we still have habits and lifestyles that prevent us from changing. But until we do, we will continue to be afflicted by residual karma. If it goes into your body, it has to come out too, or it still sits in there festering at 98.6 until it does. Okay, that is number 18, residual karma. Also, that's 18 out of the 144 different fractal faculties or stages of life. If you would like me to send you a free copy of the annotated version of the 144 different fractal faculties, just click the link in the description and I'll send you out a free copy. And otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe. And stay tuned for future videos on the Tree of Life and many, many other subjects. Have a nice day. And if you're somewhere in my vicinity, stay dry.